Hey everyone, welcome back to the Yossi Schmidt Show. We have an amazing guest today, Sara. Sara, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me on your show today. My name is Sara Razi. I am the president and founder of Freedom Bell Coalition. Freedom Bell Coalition is a 501c4 meant to identify, educate, and mobilize people to get involved in the local political process. That means to basically mobilize people to run for office, to get involved on local campaigns, to push candidates that are running locally past the finish line, especially in primaries and in the general election, as well as getting the youth involved in the political process. Yes, I am a writer for Central Jersey Newswire and a writer for Jersey Conservative. And I was a former New Jersey State Chair of Young Americans for Liberty for 2 years back in 2020 to 2022. And I'm a medical freedom activist that organized 2 rallies at Rutgers University.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you have done a lot.
Yes, I have.
And I thought, like, oh, I do so much. I do the podcast, I do the roundup, I do that. You good for you. New
Thank
Jersey
you.
and the Republican Party need a lot more of people like you.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the New Jersey gubernatorial nomination for the Republican Party. Which candidate do you want to begin with?
Let's go from like the hardest to like the easiest. So let's talk about Bill Spadea's campaign and what's happening, not only just on the campaign, but also in the PAC as well.
Where do you want to begin on Bill? What do you have to say about him?
Sure. So basically, what's happening is that Bill Spadea is very controversial. He is an excellent radio talk show host. He definitely knows how to message to people, but his past is unfortunately catching up to him. On the radio, he has flip-flopped many times on, for example, saying that he wants to eliminate pensions for government employees, including police officers and teachers, and replace them with a 401k. And he's flip-flopped on immigration. He has flip-flopped on Trump, and he has spoke up on many other issues that are able to be proven due to his radio talk show. Additionally, he is associated with tax felon George Gilmore, who is a convicted felon. And George Gilmore is unfortunately associated with Democratic lobbyists such as Phil Norcross and George Norcross, who have destroyed and infiltrated South Jersey, specifically in Camden County, through Democratic influences and policies. George Gilmore is also connected to Leroy Jones, who is a Democrat and the founder of 1868 Public Affairs. George Gilmore is the chairman of Bill Spadea's campaign and a senior advisor with Elect Common Sense PAC, which is Bill Spadea's PAC.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And George Gilmore is in charge of the whole campaign, the campaign advisor, you're saying.
Yes.
What can you tell the audience about Bill himself?
Sure. So Bill is a radio talk show host and he ran twice for office. He ran once in 2004 for Congress. He lost, and then he ran again for state assembly in I believe in 2012 in LD12, which is up where he lives in Princeton. So Bill ran for office twice. He lost twice. He dropped out of the race in 2012 after a failed county convention, and so he's running again for governor. He basically soft launched his campaign 2 years ago through promoting Common Sense Club and the Elect Common Sense PAC and a seat at the table, which was an annual event for the conservative movement here in New Jersey that first launched in 2022 and probably will not be happening this year. So Bill Spadea is unfortunately associated with the wrong people. He claims that he is pro-Trump, but he has slipped up so many times on Trump to the point where a lot of people don't know where he stands. And unfortunately, when you ask him, he calls people liars, he calls people charlatans. Like, what is going on this campaign? As someone who did work on Phil Rizzo's congressional campaign in 2022, I believe that the truth is important here and that I'm not trying to manipulate people into thinking of who they should support. I'm here to inform people on who these candidates are before they go and vote on primary day.
Right. So, as someone who is a podcaster with a WhatsApp status and a news aggregator and so much more, I agree with that message. All my friends know I refuse to endorse. In the Lakewood election, I didn't endorse, and people were like, "Oh, please endorse, please endorse." I don't endorse because it I want people to learn how to think for themselves. I have no problem informing exactly who they are, saying that this is where the policies are, this is where everything goes. But to tell you straight out who to vote for is wrong. I'm against all endorsements. I'm against definitely celebrity endorsements. I like you for your talent. I don't like you for your political opinion. Shut up. Pardon me, but like, shut up. I like you for your music. I like you for your body. I don't know. I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing. When people allow endorsements to work and allow their mind to be manipulated, like we're saying, that is wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not someone that's going to tell you what to vote. Yes, I know politics, and yes, I'm going to tell you these are the policies, but at the same time, I'm not telling you what to vote for.
Yeah.
But my problem with the current election cycle in New Jersey's gubernatorial race is the candidates are not saying where they stand. They're not talking about the politics. I was by the first debate, and all that was talking on was you're pro-Trump, you're anti-Trump, this, that. They were all it was
Yeah.
a sound show. And Bramnick was trying to take himself away from not even being pro-Trump. It was just a complete clown show. I was sitting there, I'm like, this is the first real political event I'm by. And this is what's going on. I was very disappointed. I would like to go to a debate again. If they have a second debate, I would like to go. I would like to somehow get there. And maybe I will. But at the same time, please just talk about policies. Stop attacking one another, and tell people where you stand. People need to
Exactly.
know where you stand in order to vote for you. They don't want to hear you say, "Okay, I'm against him." We know that you don't like Jack. We know that Jack doesn't like you.
Yeah. So the way I see it is that, yes, you are right. A lot of candidates are not discussing policy, but one beneficial thing that Jack has over Bill is that Jack actually on his website, he has a whole bunch of policies listed on his website. Bill only has three. Originally, Bill did have a pro-life policy, but he got rid of it because it wouldn't, appease to he was endorsed by NJ Right to Life. The only thing Bill probably has on his website is lowering taxes, reforming infrastructure, because a lot of politicians have that in New Jersey because they want money from local 825 and also the local unions that are basically run by the union people that are in the unions, and they collect money and they give it to these candidates. So that's another reason why you're seeing some of these gubernatorial candidates take a stance on reforming infrastructure. Jack has more policies listed on his website. I will say that to the people that think Bill Spadea is pro-Trump, he really is not, because he's associated with George Gilmore, who turned his back on Trump in the America First base in New Jersey by basically stopping their events and calling venues beforehand to cancel their events. And he stopped them from making progress in 2024. That's kind of the reason why the America First movement turned away from Bill Spadea. And now they decided to run their own candidate, which is Mario Kranjack, the former mayor of Englewood Cliffs. The real question is Bill Spadea pro-Trump? The answer is no, because he hired Chris Christie aides, such as Bill Stepien, the person that was in charge of Bridgegate and testified against January 6th protesters, and George Gilmore, who was on the agricultural committee during when Chris Christie was elected. So I wouldn't say Bill Spadea is MAGA or America First. I would say that Bill Spadea is the Chris Christie candidate in this race because he chooses to affiliate himself with Chris Christie aides, who have ties to Democratic lobbyists such as George Norcross and Phil Norcross, who run Optimist Partners.
But this campaign can't be pro or anti-Trump.
Yeah.
This campaign needs to be about where New Jersey stands.
Yes.
When I spoke to Ed Durr, he said that he wants to bring Doge to New Jersey. And I like that. Ed Durr happens to be a very down to earth person. I will say publicly, I didn't have any connection to Ed Durr. I just sent out a post or a tweet, whatever you want to call it on X, and he sent me a DM on how to reach out to him.
Yes. Ed
And
is very
within the week,
responsive.
and within the week, I was interviewing him. He's very down to earth, and I truly, truly appreciate it. Being that I have yet to speak to any other candidates, actually, I met Jack Citarelli in person when he came to Lakewood to the Missamech Center. He promised me to come on my podcast. That has yet to happen. And no, I'm not saying that Jack is trying to ditch me. He's following me on my podcast account and my personal account. He seems very genuine, but at the same time, I have yet to interview him, so I'm putting that out there. And no, I don't think he's trying to sidestep me. I just think it just hasn't worked out yet. I would love for it to
Absolutely.
actually work out.
Mhm.
Stay tuned. Let's see. Maybe next week, Jack will be on the podcast.
Awesome. Yeah, I will say one positive thing about Ed Durr. Ed Durr is the most pro-life candidate that is running in this race. When he was in the state legislature between the years of 2022 and sorry, it was 2021 and 2022, he introduced numerous pro-life bills that would not be able to be passed because the state legislature has a Democratic majority. That makes Ed Durr the most pro-life candidate in this race right now, in my opinion, because he has a track record of voting against pro-choice bills introduced in the state legislature, and he has introduced it's six. There's six pro-life bills that he introduced in the state legislature. So, in my opinion, Ed Durr is definitely one of the most down-to-earth people in this race, and just a genuine person. He gives off, the grandpa vibes because he is a grandfather himself, and he's definitely a good person. So, if Ed does not win this gubernatorial race, I really hope he runs again in the state senate. We need more Republicans in the state senate.
And here, he's. I'm still shocked that he overthrew Steve Sweeney, and I
Me
think
too.
he himself was shocked. He did a good job.
Mhm.
Kudos, Ed. Now, Kranjack, Mayor Kranjack, what's his first name again?
Mario.
Mario Kranjack seems very good. There was also Bacon. I don't know Bacon's first name.
Roger Bacon.
Roger Bacon was in contact with me. He's like, oh, we both. I think he just doesn't know how to click the Calendly link and book me. I think that's what it
Yeah.
was. I'm not trying to knock him. He seems like a very nice person from our DM conversations, and he was very willing to come on the podcast. But Mayor Kranjack, again, Mario Kranjack is positioning himself as the Trumpiest.
Yes.
And I want to reiterate that we cannot have this campaign about being pro-Trump or anti-Trump. We have to have this campaign as New Jersey, New Jersey, and New Jersey. New Jersey is in a very interesting situation, and we need to focus on New Jersey and focus on what we need here in New Jersey.
Absolutely. Just like for the record, I don't think he's entirely, just pro-Trump. Like he wants to definitely cut it says on his website that Mario has a plan to mandate the local property taxes to be cut by 2% each of his 4 years as governor. That's his top priority right now. So significantly lower tax prices, secure the border and fight crime, cut regulations and taxes, educate, indoctrinate New Jersey students, pass term limits for politicians. And also, one thing that he has that no other candidate has in this race is a position about taking care of the homeless, hungry, and disabled without enriching politicians. A lot of Republicans, they turn a blind eye to the disabled population. My brother, he is a special needs child, and yeah, he relies on state funds to actually survive and to actually get him therapy for physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. These are funds from the state that come and give him those services because he's no longer in school. We definitely cannot cut funding for those disabled people because they need those funds to be able to survive. So we definitely need a Republican who has some type of position on how to take care of the homeless and disabled without enriching politicians. So I will say that's one net positive for Mario Kranjack. It's just it's an uphill battle right now. So we will see what happens. Luckily, the field is like clearing up, so now we are getting an idea of who might be our Republican nominee. But it's very important to know that no matter who wins the Republican nomination, we need to come together after June 11th and vote for the Republican nominee, because can the state afford 4 more years or 8 more years of a Democratic governor? The answer is no, because you're right. It's not about who is pro Trump. It's not about who is the most Trumpiest person. What matters is that we need a governor who will be able to help pass decent bills in the state legislature. The state legislature right now has a Democratic majority. We need to win back seats in the state assembly this year and in the state senate next year in order to actually solidify the red.
Yes, the New Jersey can turn red if we actually focused on being red, and you are 100% right. That's why the famous Scott Presser moved to New Jersey and is busy trying to turn New Jersey red. Between me and you and the whole audience and anybody else that's listening, New Jersey has a very big chance of turning red if we all pitched in and did what we needed to do.
Yes. What my organization, Freedom Bell Coalition, is doing on our end is that we are actually providing grassroots aid. So basically, volunteers, vote by mail, canvassers, and door knockers to push several candidates in LD3 and LD4, which is in South Jersey, across the finish line for this primary and also the general. Freedom Bell Coalition is an organization that I started. It's a 501c4. We are working with committeemen down in South Jersey to help push these 3 candidates that are running for town council in Gloucester City and 2 assembly candidates past the finish line in the primary. So right now our goal is to get petition signatures, and then we're building up our army. So that's what I'm doing and my group is doing to basically help make New Jersey red. Because if you take a look at the data in LD3 and LD4, those were very close races in 2024. If the NJGOP does not invest in them, that's not even a loss that you can admit to. You cannot afford to lose those seats.
If they admit defeat, it's because they didn't try.
So I think all hands on deck should not just be going to the gubernatorial election, but to the local candidates that are running, local Republicans that need an extra push in that territory.
I hear, and we need everybody, the audience, the people, to push themselves. I am very. Everyone who knows me knows I'm a Republican, and that's why we were only talking about the Republican part. But we also need to be open to talking to the Democrats, because the Democrats, some of them are very moderate. Some, not all. We got to be honest about But there are some very moderate, common sense Democrats that are just Democrats. Not like Gavin Newsom, who is flip flopping right now and talking to all these highly influential Republicans, like conservatives, like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk. He had someone else on. I don't remember who else, but he just had all these people on. It's very obvious what he's doing. He's running.
Yes.
But we need to talk, and we need to get first of all, like you said, we need to get everyone to vote.
Absolutely. Yes, we do. So one way to do it is that Scott Presser is definitely a huge person here to mobilize people to vote. It's not enough to basically get people registered to vote. It's about mobilizing them to get out and vote. And how do we do that? We need a unifying candidate to bring majority of the factions in the GOP here in New Jersey together and in order to defeat the Democrats in 2025 in the general. If the Democrats can coalitionize, why can't Republicans? We need a candidate that can unify, but it's also up to us to hold our fellow Republicans accountable in different factions to not quit on us and to basically defeat the actual evil, which is not the people in our own party, but it's the Democrats. It's people that are basically fueled by George Norcross and Phil Norcross. And it's the people that are fueled by insane lobbyists who have controlled New Jersey for many years.
Do you have anything you want to promote besides for everyone going out to vote as we close out this interview?
Yes. So one thing that I want to bring up is that once again, it's my job as, I guess, a writer and an activist and the president of Freedom Bell Coalition to educate and inform people. It's not up to me to tell you who to vote for, but for the last 4 years, I have seen a lot of division and hatred from conservatives in New Jersey saying that Jack's a rhino, that Jack is just not a true conservative. When it comes to calling out one of their own, which is Bill Spadea, it's constant gaslighting, it's constant attacks, but it's our job as leaders to hold every single one of these people that are running for office accountable. Like, don't run for office if you do not want to answer basic questions from your constituents. And I think that is one thing that Bill Spadea's campaign needs to improve on, because a lot of people are concerned about what the PAC has done in 2023 when they promised when they promised local candidates all over New Jersey financial backing and turned around and only gave those funds to George Fillmore and Bill Stepien. I think that's unacceptable. So what I do recommend is that it is not my job to attack anyone. I am simply here to educate and inform, but you also need to accept reality. Your candidate might not be perfect, but they should be able to answer questions. We need to come together after June 10th somehow and defeat the actual evil, which is the Democrats who have controlled our state, who have made our roads so terrible to the point where there's potholes everywhere, to the people that increased our property taxes, especially in my town. Property taxes go up by 3,000 a year. No joke. Yes, it is really that bad right now. And people can barely afford groceries. So we need to honestly come together after June 10th and vote these Democrats out. But how do we do that? We need a unified candidate. We need a candidate to unify. But as of right now, I don't see that candidate as Bill Spadea until he makes some serious changes to his campaign.
I hear. The podcast will always be open to Bill for him to come on and
Yeah.
talk about policy. He knows how to reach me. He knows how to reach other people instead of just going on his friends' shows on New Jersey 115. Again, the podcast he doesn't have to come on my podcast, but he needs to be there for the people. Again, I am not telling people not to vote for him. If you want to vote for Bill, please do so. And Bill, please be more honest and don't hide. As the digital free press always says, hold everyone accountable, including ourselves. Be honest and remember, hold everyone accountable. Thank you for tuning into the Yossi Schmidt Show, and I will see you with the next podcast.